Okay, so we are here finally, really hoping to have this amazing time to talk about
Missions.
Yes, missions.
You missed it. We'll try it again.
I'm
Talk
not bad.
about missions.
Very good. So, and this is all because you guys are right now getting ready for a mission trip to
El Salvador.
El Salvador.
El Salvador.
Yeah. December 12th. We'll be leaving December 11th, but yeah, we have a missions trip out to El Salvador.
Okay, awesome. So, I mean, this is not new for you guys, right? You've been there before. Tell us a little bit about how this trip came about and, a little bit of history.
Yeah, no, great. I think we'll start with you, babe, because you've had a lot more missions.
So this is my third time in El Salvador. This will be my third time.
Yeah.
So I've been there once with you a few years ago, and then I believe it was in 2018, 17, I went. And missions has been part of my everyday for quite a bit. It started quite interesting. When I was a teenager, I didn't really like the word missions because it required sacrifice, like anything else in our Christian life. But I was a teen. I just wasn't willing to leave my comfort zone and go somewhere. So I remember there was a worship song based on of Isaiah saying, who am I going to stand and who's going to be willing to go? And then the song would say, here I am, Lord, send me. And I wouldn't sing it because I was like, I'm not willing to go. So why should I say things that I don't agree with? So I know it sounds really bad, but that was me. And then the Lord has a really good sense of humor. And then I went to a missionary school. I know. And then I learned so much about missions. And here I am today.
Awesome. And for me, I mean, we're missionaries. Like our parents were missionaries. They came to Canada to help Spanish churches. So that was my input to what missions was. I understood it as you're gonna leave everything, you're gonna have nothing, and you're just gonna go. So that was my experience to it. I had never gone before, and then the first time that I went on a missions trip was already married with Jess, and we went to El Salvador.
Well, that's right. Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about those experiences and a little bit more about what you see in the mission when you go in the field. But before we get there, what do you think are some misconceptions that people may have when it comes to missions?
Ooh, misconception. I think that's a good one. Well, it's not a vacation. It's not, oh, great, you're going to the sunny place, make sure you go and visit XYZ. That's not the case at all. It's not, we're going to be going there, walking around with a Bible and asking people, have you heard about Jesus 24/7? It's true. Not it. Specifically when we do our missions, we've partnered with Hand of Hope, Joyce Meyer Ministry. So it's a medical mission. So it's a team of doctors, of dentists, of dental hygienists who are going to go and provide free medical care and treatment. And then as a bonus to the fact that we are meeting an immediate need, we also have the opportunity to do ministry and sit down with them and listen to their story and then have an opportunity to present the gospel to them and present an opportunity to just know the Lord. So that's really what it's like. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of fasting and prayer beforehand.
So much beforehand. Yeah.
Our typical day, what it looks like, it's like we're up at 5 a.m. We have a group devo. We have breakfast, and then everybody's like, "Get ready. Here we go." And then we don't come back to our accommodation until about 7, 8 p.m. and try to decompress a little. Yeah.
And from what we were talking about earlier, the challenges begin even before you even start the mission. You were talking to us about at lunchtime about some challenges that you face even at the airport, right? And what are some of those unexpected things that come up when you know that you're on a mission to do missions and yet not everything's flowing as expected?
I think we have to really understand that we're going to do God's work. And so there's going to be a lot of hurdles that we have to kind of overcome. This last trip that I went to, I almost got all my tools taken away. The person at the airport just said, like, I didn't have any permission to bring stuff in. And so I was going to get everything confiscated. And everything, I mean, all of my dental supplies when it comes to like gauze and anesthetics and mask, gloves, like all my PPE, all that stuff. Plus, I also get my dental offices that I work with, who I'm really grateful for, who donate toothbrushes, toothpaste, floss, and we put those stuff together and we give it to the patients at the end of the day. So I'm a dental hygienist by profession, so that's what I do when I go into mission trips. So they were going to take all of that stuff away, including my tools, which felt my tools, I can't do anything. But you know what? At the moment, I was just like, Lord, you are in control. You take care of everything. And the Lord did it. Yeah. Someone came and said, you know what? Just go. I was like, okay. I grabbed my stuff and I left.
Yeah, I think that, the last time we were in El Salvador, we were waiting for the government to release the medications because the team takes all the medications for the pharmacy. And, we didn't know if the next day we were going to be able to treat patients. At least we'd be able to see them, but we didn't know if we were going to be able to provide them with any sort of medications because the government had yet to release them. And they had been in the storehouses of the government for at least a week. So there's always a little bit of a challenge that you're not expecting to go through. But I think you said it very well. We're going to go do the Lord's work. It's we think of it as this is active warfare in the spiritual world, right? It's there's going to be clear opposition whenever you're trying to go and take the gospel anywhere.
And Head Hope does a really good job of providing medications for people. So they get seen by the doctor, and they also get medications to obviously help
provide
them with whatever it is that they need. So that's the medication that we're talking about. It's free medication for the patient.
Yeah.
So Jess, you said that you went to missionary school, but I remember you saying to me before you have no idea it was missionary school.
No, I didn't.
Tell me a little bit about that.
I know, this is so funny, and I know people are not going to believe me, but my friends had been doing some searching, and they found this organization that prepares you to know God and then get other people to know Him. At the moment, I had other plans, like we always do, and we think God needs to be involved in our plans instead of asking the Lord to tell us what His plans are. So when they reached out to me, I said, no, I'm not interested. I have other plans, and I was supposed to go to school. I was supposed to study. Long story short, then the Lord spoke to me and confirmed that that's where I needed to go. So I didn't really know exactly what it was. I just knew that my friend said, hey, listen, we're going to go to this place and we're just going to spend time with God and we're going to learn so much more about Him. You should come out and check it out. So since I felt like I needed to be there, and I was like past the deadline already, like all the people had been selected already. So then I reached out to the organization, and that organization is called Youth with a Mission. And I reached out to them and I said, yeah, sure, you can sign up. So I signed up, I think it was 2 weeks before it started. Wow. And one of the things I said to God was like, Lord, if you want me to go there, I need money, because I had nothing. I was a full-time student. So the Lord provided, and I went. And as I am at the school talking to other people who are going to do the same program, they're like, oh, so what made you decide to come to mission school? And I was like, mission school? What are you talking about? And they're like, what are you talking about? Don't you know this is a missionary school? I was like, no. I thought.
Did you know you were coming to seminary?
I was like, okay, well, I'm already here. I was like, I was just being obedient. Honestly, I really felt like God, that's what He wanted me to do. So I went. Then I asked my friend, and she was like, yeah, they're going to teach you how to first you're going to learn about God, and you just kind of have an intimate relationship with Him. And then they're going to teach you how to, preach the gospel to other people. And I was like, OMG. So that God is really a funny.
Yeah.
Funny.
So how long was the school for? How long were you there for?
Okay, so the school, it's called Discipleship Training School, and that's probably why I never thought it was about missions, because nowhere on it did it say missions.
Yeah.
So you are in school for 3 months, studying the Word, and learning different aspects of God and who He is in your life, and then 3 months you do what they call outreach. And you do local outreach, which is the outreach that you do within the country that you're doing or your school in. And then you do international outreach. So I went to the Dominican Republic, and we were in Jarabacoa for 3 months learning in this facility. And then you get separated into groups depending on which country you feel like you're going to go do your international outreach. And and then you do local outreach within the country. So I was in the capital, and then we did like a whole bunch of cities around the Dominican Republic, and then I went to the Sahara Desert, and we were in the Sahara Desert for about a month, pretty much doing missions. They had just things happening there, and we went and we did that.
So we went from, I'm not going to sing the song because I definitely don't want to be into missions, to like, I signed up to this discipleship program that just happened to be Missionary School. Now I'm stuck here. I'm going to finish the program.
Yeah.
But then I'm going to finish the program, and now I'm dedicating myself to doing missions. So what happened? Like, what happened there that all of a sudden you go in not wanting to do this, and now you can't get away from it?
So listen, so I was there, and obviously I am so grateful for this program. I'm so grateful for YWAM. I'm grateful for the discipleship training school that I had an opportunity to be part of, because I learned so much. You know, I don't know if this makes sense to you, but like, you know, the scripture in the scripture in the Bible that says like, I had heard about you, but now my eyes see you. Okay, that's exactly how I felt. I felt like I had always known God, and he was real in my life always, but it was just like a whole nother aspect of him that I hadn't really like ever understood or seen or experienced. So that happened. And while I was in the desert, I knew that I had always liked dental. And then when we went to the Sahara Desert, there was a dentist. And the dentist said, hey, can you help me? And I was like, oh, okay, sure. Like, yeah, sure. So then I worked with her. And then I felt like the Lord said, you know, this is what I want you to do, because this is going to be the opening door for you to do missions. And I was just like, oh, like, I'm going to continue doing this. But now, obviously, I felt more prepared. I felt like I knew how and, you know, when to do it and how to do it, all of that, which I'm grateful for. So then I came back, and then I studied I wanted to do dental school, but that didn't work out. So then I did dental hygiene. And actually, fun fact, the reason why I went to hygiene school is because of this woman right here. I came back, and obviously, like, I hadn't worked for like almost 7-8 months. And then so I went straight back to work, and then I needed to do a whole bunch of things in order to get like my ducks in order to go to school. And then that got pushed by a year, then I got pushed by another year, then I got pushed by another year, and then finally someone pretty much like scolded me and said, Jess, you need to go to school. Like, you need to do what you told me that God told you to do.
Thank you. Thank you.
So then I went to school, finished school, and then while I was finishing school, I went to a women's conference here in Toronto that Joyce Meyer was hosting, and that's when I found out about Hope, Hand of Hope, that they do these medical and dental like missions. And I was like, I felt like God was like, okay, you're ready now.
Dots putting them together, full circle.
So
yeah.
That's what I did.
Nice. So you've been how many trips by now?
With Hand of Hope, I think 5, and then this will be 6.
Okay.
6 trips. Yeah. Okay. So then you come into the equation, and you've never actually been on missions, and you marry this woman that does missions.
Yeah.
And so tell me about that. How did the first conversation come up? Like, hon, I'm glad that we're married now. Just so you know, like, this is what we do now.
Yeah. Thankfully, it was before saying the I do's, you know. And it all started when we were just about to start dating. Like, we hadn't even dated. And, you know, I was doing the typical FBI work that every guy does. And you got to check who this person is, right? Wow. If you don't have a lot of time with them, like, you got to figure out who this person is. Am I like going to get like killed or what? Right. And then I would see that Jess had like on her social platforms, it really only Instagram.
Yes,
she had a lot of posts, and it was all about like her mission. So I'm like, this girl really likes missions, right? So, you know, guys, check out the Instagram profile. Like, they'll tell you what they're really into. And I remember on our second date, I asked her, I'm like, why don't you talk to me? Like, talk to me about these missions, because
it was
the second day, and we were early for dinner, so we needed to walk.
Yes.
So we said,
it was COVID time.
It was COVID time, so you can we weren't even really social distancing. But anyways, I said to her, you know, like, why don't you talk to me about your missions? Yes. And she lit up, and then she started like just sharing everything about her missions, and I was like, wow, that sounds really, really amazing. Mm-hmm. You know, fast forward, then later on, we're dating, and then she was talking about, you know, I would really I'd love to go to missions. And she's just kind of like outlining it there. Like, hey, listen, when I get married, I still have an intention to do missions, right?
Yes.
And in my heart, I said, that would be awesome. Like, I would love to go with you and do one of these things. And whenever I do something, I go all in, right? Like I don't do anything halfway. And I don't know for what reason. Well, I think you were doing like little kid stories, and I thought, oh, that is so cool. I'm gonna buy like a trunk load of puppets, and I just had all these puppets in the basement in a bin, like never used. It's just like I just decided to buy a whole bunch of puppets because I didn't know what. And when we were walking, I said to her, I'm like, hey, I have, fun fact, I have a bin full of puppets, and I don't know if maybe that's what the Lord will use me for. Like maybe it's intended for one of these missions trips, and I just can go and like entertain kids, right? Like that's what, that was it, right? And then obviously now, like when a couple of years ago, when we were about to go, then Jess was like, hey, babe, like, there's this missions trip. I really want to go. Like we should pray about it. You think we should go? Like we should go. And then and then we went. We went together. Yeah.
And you brought your puppets.
And I brought my puppets. I did bring my puppets. They were a hit. It was great. It was really a good experience. Fantastic experience.
So let's talk a little bit about that. So by this point, Jess, this would have been your fourth trip, right? I think, right? So this is going to be your first trip ever on a true mission experience. Yes. Yeah. So let's talk about your emotions, your feelings, going up to your expectations, going right up to that point, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what was that like. Yeah,
good questions. So I was terrified. I was terrified from the very beginning because I didn't know what I was going to do. Like, I understand this is a medical mission. Everybody there going has a purpose. Like, they all have, it specifically ties into their careers as what they do every day. This is just an extra bonus because we're doing it for free to a vulnerable sector or community. And myself, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, what do I have to offer? I'm not in the medical field. Like, I mean, the best thing that I could do is maybe carry heavy boxes, or do the setup and tear down. Like, I don't know. That's what my intention was. I was really afraid of how to share the gospel because I figured at some point in time I'm going to have to share the gospel with somebody, right? Like, you don't go on a mission and be like, never talk about Jesus, right? So my goal was like, I'm going to talk about Jesus to someone at some point in time. But then I was afraid because in my mind I had this conflict going on, which is, how do I tell someone who has lived a very difficult life, is still in a very vulnerable situation, that there's this amazing God who loves them unconditionally. Like that, for me, I couldn't reconcile the two, and how was I going to be able to do that? So for me, it was a big challenge mentally, and just not knowing personal purpose, God's purpose with me, and then if it is to share the gospel, like, how do I do that in an effective way without offending anyone, but still really highlighting how amazing God is?
So take us to that moment. So we're going to be part of your mission, let's say. We're going with you on this trip to, I guess El Salvador would have been the place where you went. We've never been there. Okay, and you're gonna take us. Have you ever watched that show with it was the school bus? What was it called?
Magic School Bus?
The Magic School Bus, where they would go into their adventures and they're going in and they're learning about the blood system. So they're
going through the screen.
Okay, so we're gonna do something like this right now. So you're taking us into what missions looks like now. Okay. So we've lived in North America. This is where we are. We don't know a lot about missions here. I mean, it's not something that we necessarily do very often here within our own community. We're now going with you to, a Central American country. We know nothing about missions. Never mind being prepared to share the gospel. Many of us probably wouldn't even know how to start. Tell us, take us on that bus. Like, what are we seeing? What are we experiencing? What are we going to notice in other people? Like, take us there.
I think one of the biggest things is there's a lot of preparations done ahead of time. So the Hand of Hope always partners with a local a local group or a little organization that already has the relationship there in the country where we're going. So they've been leading up to this, letting everybody know, putting out advertisements in Facebook and in the local radio and so on, just to let them know that there is this medical brigade coming and it is absolutely free. If you need anything, come. Like, so that's already been done for weeks ahead of time before we arrive there. So then when we're getting there, and hopefully we'll be able to put it on this video, there are lineups that are 3-4 blocks long of people who have some of them slept overnight in that line waiting to be seen by one of the doctors, could have walked days to get to where we are. So it's very humbling to when you're there and you have to disconnect yourself from all the opportunity and greatness that we do have here in North America, and then realize you're there for missions. Like, you're really there to do something else, and these people need your help, right? And so that's, to me, that was the first impact. The first scene is like, oh my goodness, this is like, that's when you know it's really happening, right? Like, because when you get there, you see this lineup, you're like, oh my goodness, it's a lot of people. Yeah. Like, the last time we saw 6,200 patients, like that over 3 days. Like, that is a lot of people. Like, it's 2,000 plus a day, right? That are gonna go through and see doctors and then talk about ministry and so on. That is 6,200 souls that you are going to have the opportunity to present the gospel to, and and the Lord will do His work. So it's definitely incredible.
So this is remote areas, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, remote areas. With the last organization that they had partnered with, a local church had also offered their, I think it was like a gym area or like a school. It was a school that offered like a corridor and whatever. So we were able to split the teams there. You can speak about like how they separate dental and so on.
So with the dental missions, we're definitely doing a lot of emergency things. A lot of children and adults come with emergencies, as in like broken teeth or really bad inflammations. And even then, we have to give these patients antibiotics, tell them to go home, and then come back, because we can't treat them while the infection is active. And sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't, depending on how far they are from where they live. So then we give them a round of antibiotics and tell them, okay, you need to come back in 2 days, we'll be here, and then we'll do whatever it is. It's mostly extractions. As a hygienist, and I do a lot of preventive stuff like cleanings and fluoride treatments and things like that. So we get divided by, the dentist does, I remember my first missions trip. I was the only hygienist, and then there was a dentist and a couple of assistants. We set up the room, and she just set like 5 chairs, right? And then she said to me, I will freeze all of them, and then I'll go back and extract whatever I need to extract. And then, that's what we're going to do. So she will like freeze, then go back, extract. And then I have, give them the gauze to bite on, give them the antibiotics, give them like, the dental supplies, dental aids, and let's go on with the next 5, because the line, I couldn't see the end of it. Yeah. This was Guatemala, in a very remote indigenous community. And that's how we do it. And, people get seen, and they get the help they need, and then they pass through the ministry department as they wait for their medications.
So we have wonderful nurses who do the triage at the beginning, and they know, and they determining, like, because there's people who are going to have both needs, dental and medical, right? And you have to kind of determine and they need to make the decision what is the most important for the patient at that moment, and then they send them to that section, right? So after they've been seen by the professional in each area, then while their prescription is being prepared, they have time to wait. And that is the time where they get to sit with somebody in ministry to hear about the gospel, to speak with them, to pray with them. And then by the time they're done, their medication is ready and they can go and pick it up.
So you said that this is going to be an opportunity for you to share the gospel. So these are 6,200 people, I think you said.
Yeah.
that know that they're going to get some medical help of some sort. What they don't realize is that they have a divine appointment awaiting for them, because there's something more for them awaiting. And at the end of the day, this is the most important part of this mission, which is the sharing of the gospel. How does that happen?
Well, it's happened differently for us, because Marco is in the ministry department, so he gets to sit down and chat with people and pray with them. I try to get a conversation started as like they're coming in and they're telling me what they need, and I'll be like, okay, no problem, like I'll take care of that. And then I try to make conversation, how are you, and all of those things. And then as we get to know each other, which is not a long time either, because I am on a time crunch, because I've got like hundreds of patients to see. I preach the gospel. Like I just share the gospel, and it's easy. I was making a joke earlier, but it's easier because it's usually their mouth is open and they can't really respond. So I'm just like, God is so good. They're really good at sharing what's in their heart, which I find is different. I find people in the Western world are very private, and they don't share a lot. And there's different reasons why. I find it that people outside are more willing to share and say, I'm going through this, or this is happening. And I usually say, can I pray for you? And they say yes, and then I pray for them, and then I say, can you go see this group of people over there, and they're going to share, they'll give you a Bible, they'll give you a book. They have books, a lot of good books that they have them in the language that wherever we are. Yeah.
And that's another part of the ministry, is like you have to, based on what you're speaking with the person, you have maybe 8 different titles that you could possibly give them a free book. And then it's like, okay, which is going to be the best book for them right now, right? Obviously, the Bible is the best one, but I mean, everything else, just supplementary, additional support. Resources. Yes. You also are in areas sometimes where people can't read, right? So that's not really going to be the help, right? So, you would share the gospel through drawings. That's one of the things that I was doing a lot.
And then hopefully you can connect them with the local church.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, that you're on the department called ministry, right? Because I want to clarify that. It's not that you're in ministry. It's you're actually in the department, the team.
That's right.
Called ministry. Okay. How do you even get started? I mean, what your role is. That, okay, I'm in the department that is there to somehow start a conversation with someone that is going to take them into me preaching the gospel to them. Yeah. But you see a bunch of faces. You don't know anybody. No time for shyness or anything. How are you going to get through? I need to be able to talk to this person, because I need to share the gospel with as many people as I can. Yeah. How do you start that?
I know. I have to give it to Marco, because I'm doing something as I'm speaking, right. So I in a sense have
You're already supplying
a purpose,
the need.
you know what I mean? I don't know, whatever. They kind of people don't like dentists. And so they already direct the part. It's like, pray for me. What do I have to do?
I'll accept Jesus. No.
But yeah, you just have to start from scratch.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a real big fear at first. I'm a very social person. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm introverted by any stretch of the imagination.
That's true.
But so I think that helps that I'm a bit of an extrovert. I think even the fact that I'm going to pray with people, it kind of boggles their mind, because they see, this bald, bearded, tattooed guy, and they're like, all of a sudden this guy's like, hey, have you heard about Jesus? It's very, very awkward for their mind,
but
right?
Let me picture this, because I'm just trying to understand. Obviously, I'm bound by the personalities that we see here in North America. Yeah. You're coming into what I'm picturing, a room full of people that are waiting for their turn for something. Yes.
And they're in chairs, and I'm moving.
Okay, and your role now there is you got to preach the gospel. You can't just stay standing there, because this is your opportunity. Yeah. What do you say? You say, hello, does anybody need prayer? What do you do?
So my first thing is, I always ask them, I always thank them for coming. Thank you so much for coming to this event.
To the group?
No, I'm talking one-on-one. So imagine you have 6,200 people that we saw, 6,200 people one-on-one, right? Wow. So It's one-on-one, and it's like I sit with them. I'll ask them about their day. How did they get to where we were? You know, how did they hear about us? Just like opening up. Like let us have a normal conversation. Like this is not going to be a scary moment. I just want to hear about you a little bit. And then they're like, oh, and what brought you today? And then they start talking a bit, you know, have this difficulty and whatever. And like, oh, okay. And I'm making like slight little notes. I'm asking about their age. Just have an understanding of like potentially what have they lived in their life, or where they could be, what stage, what responsibility level they may have. And then it's, you know, is there anything that I could, you know, like, great, I'm so glad that you were seen by doctors, or you were seen by a dentist or the dental team. Is there anything that I could pray for you for? And then, and they're like, oh, you know, I don't know, I'm good. Or they say something. And then I'm like, you know, have you ever heard about Jesus though? And a lot of people, you know, in Latin America, a lot of people say yes, right? And a lot of, and others be like, no, I'm good, right? And then the option is like, would you give me 2 minutes for me to share to you what Jesus is? Like what Jesus is to me, and what Jesus did for me? And I mean, they're already there. They really rarely say no. And then you have the opportunity to share. And it's after that, and like it's really a concise preach the gospel in 2 minutes type of exercise. We would have other volunteers, and I remember pulling the volunteers aside and be like, but I love that you want to pray so deeply. I love that you have a passion for this, but this isn't one of those like mega crusades where you're going to be praying for them for 15 minutes. Okay, bro, like we have 6,200 people we got to see. So I need you to like get the gospel out there, right? So that was one of those fun things, but it's like, it's essentially the gospel in 2 minutes. I found that drawing it out through,
I was gonna say, you had like a little technique.
I had this little technique, and I mean, I can't claim it. It's not mine. Like, go to YouTube, look for like the gospel in 3 circles, and it's like fantastic, really simple, great drawing, gets to the point. People look at it, and at the end of this drawing, honestly, a large percentage of people are like, I need Jesus. And you're like, well, that is amazing, right? And that's yeah, so that's how that works. And or we do.
So most memorable experience.
You go first.
You know, one of the things when it comes to missions is that you also really need to be prepared emotionally, because compassion, like when the scripture talks about Jesus feeling compassion for people, I see that. Like, I understand it. You know, people come not just with physical needs, like you see so much more. I met a mom who had been in the line in Guatemala for, I think she said 2 days. So she hadn't eaten because she had been sitting in the line because she needed to make sure that she had a ticket, like, so that her kids can, it wasn't even her. It was her kids needed to be seen because they had never been seen by a dentist, and they were waking up at night with, like, you know, a toothache, and she's like, I don't know what to do. And I hate seeing my kids in pain. So she comes and she brings her kids. She has 2 kids. One of them had a really bad infection, so I can't even imagine what kind of pain he was in. So, you know, we helped the kids, and then she said, okay, are we done? Like, is there anything else? I was able to share with her like oral health and what to do and all of that. And she was like really willing to learn, which I thought it was great. So then I'm in my head, I'm like, okay, like, how do I get the gospel across to her? But again, I have, you know, hundreds of people waiting. And then I say to her, do you mind just, because we have to give her antibiotics. So do you mind going to the pharmacy and getting this prescription filled, and then speaking to the people that are going to be helping you there? And she said, okay. And as she's making her way there, she faints.
No.
And of course, she hasn't slept really properly. She hasn't eaten just because she wanted her kids to be seen. And you think about it and you think, like, the Lord did that and so much more for us. And so we were able to help her. We had to, you know, provide food for her. But then she walked out getting the best out of anything that anyone can have, which is her salvation for her and her family.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes it's hard being out there, but God is good.
Yeah, I think for me the most memorable, I met a woman who was a single mom with 3 children, and she was having suicidal thoughts. So she was planning on taking her life, and that was, you know, that was really big because she, being part of the church doesn't mean that you aren't affected by things like these. And she was, in fact, one of the volunteers with the local church that was there to help us, and then sat down and broke down in tears, just saying about how she was having suicidal thoughts and she just didn't know how to do it anymore. And speaking with her and sharing God's love from a non-judgmental perspective, but rather just giving hope in the hope of salvation, and having her kids look at her and be like, Mom, why don't you choose Jesus? That I think, to me, that is the one of the single most impactful scenarios that I faced. The second one, I think, is just, we have translators wherever we go. We didn't need a translator because we speak Spanish, but the rest of the team does need a translators. And we're packing up, the very last day, we're packing up, getting ready to go, putting everything away. And, we've now developed a great relationship with these translators because we're playing games at night. Like,
they stay at the
same place. Yeah. So, we've been playing Stop or whatever. We've been having trying to decompress a little bit. Yeah. And getting to know them. These are usually college kids that are donating their time as well, just to translate, because they speak both languages. They're not believers or anything, but they're volunteering. And this one guy that I just, I had grown really close to, at the very end, he's like, okay, well, what do you do? And I'm like, what?
You keep talking so much to people.
Yeah.
What's going on?
He was like, I've been with the doctors, I've been with the dentists, I've been with the nurses. Like, I know what they're all doing, but like, I see you drawing on books. Like, what do you do? and I was like, oh, you want to know what I do? I was like, okay, like, you got like 2 minutes? I'll show you what I'm doing. And he's like, yeah. So we sat down, and at the end of those, like, I don't even know how long or short it was. He's like, I want Jesus in my life. And we prayed, and I felt like, for me, I almost felt like God was like, hey, you wanted that one more, and like I had him stored, and this is like almost like your gift kind of deal, right? It's for him, but for me, it just felt so amazing, because it is big. It's draining. Like, it is draining to be there since 7 a.m. till about 6:30 p.m. Nonstop, and it's very emotionally draining to see all the need and know that you can't possibly meet it all.
All of it, yeah.
Right? So you get back, and it's like, you wish you could do more, right? So seeing those moments and just seeing God's goodness through those moments really is the gas that keeps you going.
Most challenging experience.
That's good.
One of the mission trips that I went to, we were on our way to open, the second day of clinic, and there was like a strike happening, and they blocked the street, and there was like rioting happening.
Wow.
So the leader at the time was like, okay, guys, like, obviously we need to go to clinic. There's people who've been lining up for days, but that will require that we need to get off the bus and walk, and we're going to walk through that riot. And so she said, if you guys don't feel comfortable, you have to let me know right now, because then you stay on the bus and you go back to the hotel, and the rest of us need to carry all of our equipment and walk through the riot. And she's like, and please don't feel bad if you don't, if you're not comfortable with it. We understand. So that was like, I'm in a foreign country in the middle of, I don't even know where I am,
what
kind
of
thing,
unrest
right?
is going
like
on?
What riot is really happening? But you have to make a decision, and you have to believe, and you have to trust in the Lord. And she said, I believe and I trust that the Lord will put angels and guard us, and we're going to be fine. So whoever is willing to step out in faith, let's do it. So nobody stayed behind. Everybody grabbed a box, because we had boxes and suitcases and of all of our equipment, because sometimes you can leave it at the site, and sometimes you can't. And in this instant, we couldn't leave it at the site, so we had to pack everything and then kind of set up again. So we all just carried all of our stuff and walked through, and it was a legit riot going on. And so we just literally walked around it, and we continued, and we walked the rest of the way to the clinic, and it was a bit still. But I got to see so many things, and I also got to experience the Lord's protection over our group. And
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, for me, the most challenging part, I think it was just you're bound to see people from very different walks of life, and who have suffered, abuse and react to things very differently. So there was a gentleman who was very irate and very boisterous about it, and I think it was creating a little bit of fear in the area of what his reaction could possibly be to things. And I think this is what Jess just said. You feel God's protection. You also know, we haven't been given a spirit of fear, and it's like, okay, the Lord is with me. We're doing this thing for God. Obviously, there's something else that's trying to push against it, and I'm just gonna go and talk to him because nobody else wanted to. Yeah. And I think that getting past our own fear and just trusting that God is in control. But yeah, that was all. That'd be it. Yeah.
What was the most rewarding, satisfying moment that you had? So I know we talked about memorable, but when I think about you're saying that you're working the whole entire day, you need something to strengthen you to do this all over again the next day. There's got to be some impactful, satisfying, rewarding little moments that give you back that strength. And yes, I can do it for another 2 hours. I can do it another 3 hours.
Yeah. 92. 92 is for me. And why I say 92? The team does a very, very amazing job at keeping track of information. 92 people came to the Lord in those 3 days, and I will never forget the number 92.
I think it's that, I look outside or I look to the lineup and I say, I can see one more person. I can help one more child. I think children it's tough to see them in pain. Or I can share the gospel with one more person, even if it's just to pray for them. You know what I mean? And then, like Marco said, the team does a really good job at giving us the information at the end of the day when we're having dinner. And it's just sharing, and people share their stories. And it's those moments that you're like, Lord, I'm not here for me. So I could be tired, my feet can hurt, or it could be really warm outside.
Or flooding. They had some flooding the last time.
Like the rain just doesn't want to stop. But at the end, we're just doing what the Lord has called us to do. Yeah.
I think imagine you're having dinner, or the team is now trying to settle down a little bit, and you hear, "Hey guys, 26 people made a decision for Christ today," and like, what can excite you more than to know that they gave you we saw this many people today. We gave medical. This many prescriptions were filled. These many tests were run. We had a great ophthalmologist and his son, an optician who gave away 680 pairs of glasses. They brought their frames and they brought the lenses and they were making the glasses there. And it's like, you have this understanding of just how you are truly the hands and feet of the Lord at that moment, and you can't stop but to be grateful. Yeah, and I think that's a huge
gratitude for
sure. Gratitude.
It's wonderful because I think that based on what you guys are saying, when we read the Word and we hear Jesus moved by compassion, we read about the multitude. I don't think we fully understand that emotion like we think we do. But what he was feeling at that moment, because he was tired too, and yet moved by the compassion that he had for the souls, for the people, he would continue to teach, he would continue to feed them. I think you experienced a little bit of what that compassion actually means with the experiences that you've had.
And I think we have, and for those who have supported us financially or in your prayers anytime that we've gone. You've been a part of that. The word says, when you did it to one of these, you've done it to me. And we couldn't go and do that if we don't have the support that we've received or the help that we've received.
Yes.
So, you know, your
So
your
thank
donations, thank you, because it's through those donations that allow us to be able to go and reach all these people. So it's like all those people who you see, or the ones that you saw in that lineup, if we ever pass the video or not, like all those people you had a role in it
Yes.
too. Like you had a
They
part
were
in
touched,
it too.
yeah.
You know, whether your donation was $2, whether it was $2,000, whether it was just time in prayer.
Yes,
Trust me,
covering
all
us.
of that helps, because
Yes.
we are facing opposition in every area wherever we go, and just to be able to see God move and truly see the joy of salvation is incredible.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because I know that when we've had conversations, you know, you shared with me that on one side, this is all like you don't have any of this paid for. Like these are
No.
things that you yourself are trying to find the means to do some sort of activity or something that will help you get the funds that you need to do mission work. That on one side, and the other side, I know that we've talked about in the past, is that these are professionals, working professionals, that are taking time off their work life, sometimes as vacation, other times as unpaid work, to go and do the work for the Lord. On top of that, they also have to find the way to fund this work that they're doing. And so what do you guys do to find the resources and the funding to be able to do missions every time that you go?
Well, let me tell you, I'm not like really good at like coming up with stuff. Like I'm not. But this man right here, thank God for Mark. Thank God, Lord, you gave me a good husband. Because he comes up with some really cool ideas. Like this summer, we sold
Snow cones, scopos, or
First
Churchills.
of all, I was like, what? Like, I love snow cones, but I hadn't had one since I was back home. You know what I mean? I didn't even know that you could make snow cones in Canada.
And thank God for a good hot summer this summer, right?
Yeah,
Because
so,
it was like, it was great.
We sold some. So thank you to everyone who bought a snow cone.
Yes.
So thank you, because they supported us.
Yeah, and you know, like we're always trying to come up with some ideas. You know, now October 25th, we're going to be having a pickleball tournament, right? And,
Please come out. It's going to be so much fun.
Come out, sign up. We'll
You don't
put
have
the
to be a
links.
professional.
Yeah, there is like every level possible. It's just to have a great time,
Yes.
and at the same
It's our
time,
community.
you know, spend time in community, absolutely. And you know, all the money that is raised there goes directly to these trips, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, you know, we're paying for. We're not just paying. We're paying the accommodations. We're paying the local transportation. We're paying for the translators. We're paying for all of that there, and we're paying for our flights to get there, while at the same time not earning because we're away, right? So, you know, all of that, it does add up, and depending on where you are going in the world, it gets either more expensive or less expensive. You know, if you're flying out of Pearson, it's pretty expensive always, right? But you know, that's really, you know, where all this money goes to. And you know, we always take a secondary luggage that is full of toys and full of stickers and full of dentist supplies. We take a luggage, at least one that's full of toothbrushes and toothpaste. Like it's, you know, your donation allows us to be able to do that, so that when we're there, we're able to gift a child something. We've had senior citizens wanting to have the glow-in-the-dark bracelets.
Those
Those
are popular.
That's the biggest hit. If you're doing missions anywhere, go to the dollar store, get the glow-in-the-dark bracelets. That is the biggest hit. Like I carry maybe 20 or 30 at a time, and kids are running up to me, and I just put it on them, and seniors would be like, "Can I get one too?" And I, you know, how are you gonna say no to them, right? Like absolutely.
The toys come in handy, because after a terrifying dental appointment,
where they've extracted teeth.
sometimes they are, sometimes they're terrifying, sometimes they're not. Then we always give them a little toy.
And it's just something, I mean, you've heard, I think we talked about it before, you hear it where, you know, World Vision or children that have been sponsored by someone, they remember the letters that their sponsor sent. They remember all those notes, and they've kept them close, because it might be the only time somebody ever wrote you or something like that, right? These kids will forever remember that there was a group of missionaries that came and shared the gospel with them, but brought them a soccer ball, or got them the little like Hot Wheels trucks,
Hot Wheels
cars, Hot Wheels. If you want to sponsor us, sponsor us. Hot Wheels are the absolute best for little boys in South America. They love them.
it.
Little girls love the little dolls, and we take
Yes.
these little dolls. Like we've learned in stickers. Oh my Lord, do they love stickers? So there's certain things that they'll never forget, right? And I think that is so important that we take the gospel. Mary Poppins said a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. So absolutely, I think the same idea. Love, and love is gonna let them reflect on this Jesus who loves them a lot easier than just like, hey, have you heard the Bible? Like, I think that's a big deal.
I think that's key to make sure that we're there providing a need. Yes, we're there, providing medication and dental, but doing it in love so that people see Jesus in you. Always.
Yeah.
Always.
So that's what we're doing to raise funds, right?
So yes. And we have a GoFundMe account, and thank you for the people who supported, because you guys don't know how much that means to us.
It's incredible. It's incredible, and it goes such a long way.
So I want to encourage everybody who's watching this. We live in a very blessed nation.
Yeah.
And very few of us, including myself, has had the opportunity to do this type of work and go out there and do mission work in the field, in the middle of it all. And yet we so easily spend $5, $20, $25 on a weekly basis. And if we are realistic with ourselves, if we're honest, how often do we actually contribute towards the mission field, mission work? And so I really do encourage everybody who's watching this, $5, $10, it doesn't matter. Everything helps, not only to be able to provide for the needs of the team here, of our brother and sister, but also to be able to take something to the people out there. Everything costs, and we can all be part of that vision and be part of that ministry and hear back how far that went, and know that we were able to also be part of it and touch people's lives through that. And that at the end of the day, without people like Marco and Jessica, the gospel doesn't get to some people in those remote areas, because clearly you and I are not going. So if people are going, why don't we help and contribute? So I really do want to encourage you to go to the GoFundMe page and just help out with something that will be greatly appreciated. Help with prayers, very important. Nothing gets done without prayer.
Please.
And if you're up for the challenge, pickleball
Yes.
is just around the corner.
Please.
So I hope to see some of you out there as some of us pretend to play this wonderful sport.
So we've had a great sponsorship through Jula, which is a pickleball company, and they have provided the prizes for the winners. So come out and play. Have a great time. Who knows? You might walk away with a gift as well.
True.
Awesome.
So yes, please keep us in your prayers. We really need them. If you can start praying from now. We leave December 11th.
Yeah.
Right. So please keep us in your prayers. Those are always welcome. And if you're ever interested, definitely sign up for a missions trip.
Yes.
They're great. If you have any questions, just reach out to us.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for sitting down and sharing a little bit of what you experience when you go on this mission trips. Looking forward to hearing back from you when you do come back.
Yes.
But thank you for letting us all know a little bit more about what goes on when you say I do and you say yes, here I am, Lord, send us. And thank you for everybody for watching.
We'll do another sit down at the end.
Yes, for sure.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless you all.
Bye.